Welcome back. Chinese President Xi Jinping reportedly furious over a Hong Kong company's plan to sell its Panama Canal ports to a U.S. group led by BlackRock. The Wall Street Journal reports Xi originally wanted to use the canal as a bargaining chip when dealing with President Trump. China and Hong Kong now are threatening the $23 billion deal to purchase two ports near the Panama Canal, currently owned by Chinese firm CK Hutchison. BlackRock did the deal, acquired several ports, including those two. The company's chief executive says the deal deserves serious attention, saying, quote, "The Hong Kong government urges foreign governments to provide a fair and just environment for enterprises. We oppose the abusive use of coercion and bullying tactics in international economic and trade relations." Joining me now is the Gatestone Institute senior fellow and author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang, back with me. Gordon, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
So I would have thought that Li Ka-shing, who runs CK Hutchison, would be someone that the Chinese would be proud of. He's among the richest people in the world, has done incredibly well. But he did a deal with Larry Fink and BlackRock to sell port companies, including those two ports operating near the Panama Canal. Suddenly, the head of Hong Kong is upset about it. Your reaction?
Well, when John Lee, the chief executive of Hong Kong, says, oh, we're opposed to international bullying, that's exactly what Xi Jinping is doing to CK Hutchison, because
yeah.
China is now threatening anti-monopoly regulations against CK Hutchison. And remember, this deal is really important because it is 43 port operations with 199 berths in 23 countries. And this shows you that China's position around the world is fragile. President Trump scored a major victory, and now Xi Jinping is just stewing about it, probably with very little that he can actually do.
Yeah, and President Trump continues to say that the U.S. is taking back the Panama Canal. I spoke with him a week and a half ago, and he told me just that. Watch.
China essentially had it. It was a China-based company. I'd much rather deal with BlackRock than a China-based company. And BlackRock is fine. I knew they were doing that. I was totally okay with it.
And when you go through the Panama Canal,
makes it easier.
Give us a sense of how China has dominated.
We built this incredible thing, the eighth wonder of the world, right? You know, it connects two oceans, and one ocean is substantially higher than the other. We should have never given it. But we didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama. And now Panama has gone out and essentially ceded it to China. And until they ripped all the signs down about a week ago, when they saw that I was serious about this, you know, most of the signs were written in Chinese. They were all Chinese all over the place. That wasn't the deal. We're taking the Panama Canal back.
Yeah, Howard Lutnick has told me that many times as well, Gordon, that you go through the Panama Canal and whatever signs you're looking at are all in Chinese. But I'm not sure that the public understands the strength of Xi Jinping. You had a piece in The Hill yesterday, and you say that China's military is going to war against itself, as Xi Jinping has been purging military officers for more than a decade now. Of course, you know, Gordon, I reported months ago that I had heard that after Xi Jinping had a mini stroke a couple of years ago, that the PLA took his military oversight away. Here's that exchange last year. Watch. How strong really is Xi Jinping and the economy there, Gordon? I mean, the economy has had a really rough time given the property decline. And as I reported in the past, a very important source told me that last summer, Xi Jinping had a mini stroke. And after the mini stroke, they took away his oversight of the military and gave it to one of his colleagues. So I don't know if he's actually running the military. Gordon, what have you learned since we had that discussion? You've got a piece as well on foxnews.com.
Yeah, the important thing here is that General He Weidong, the #3 uniformed officer in the military, he has disappeared from public view. He was Xi Jinping's enforcer. And there are a couple of explanations. One of them is that Xi Jinping has become a paranoid and he's now sacking his own officers. But it's much more likely that Xi Jinping's enemies in the military are taking down Xi Jinping's loyalists, which just confirms your reporting of months ago that Xi Jinping has lost control of the military. You were the first person on air in America to talk about this, and this could perhaps be the most important development of the year. if there is turmoil at the top of the Communist Party and infighting, and Xi Jinping could very well lose his position in the party. So right now, we're talking about something that we're looking at, and we just don't know what's going on. It is that serious.
Yeah. And, you know, the person that I had spoken with about this is the head of a Chinese company, which is close to the CCP. Obviously, all Chinese companies have to be close to the CCP. And he said it's widely known throughout China that Xi Jinping is not in charge of the military, which is a huge, huge development.
Yes. You know, the military's propaganda organs, PLA Daily, has been running these pieces since last July praising collective leadership. That's a direct slap at Xi Jinping. And that's an indication that General He Weidong's disappearance is at the hands of Xi Jinping's enemies. So you have the Chinese military at war with itself. The military is the most important faction in the Communist Party. Which means that Xi Jinping has lost a lot of his authority, which means he's going to a position where he could just end up being a figurehead. And that means China itself could be in turmoil because Xi Jinping's enemies have been gunning for him.
Wow, incredible. And of course, President Trump says that he is going to be meeting with Xi Jinping at some point soon. So we're waiting on that meeting to see how it develops.